Hi, I'm Rachel Mills, Making Crates Needlecraft class today. So, today we are going to be making pom-poms, as well as I'm showing you how to sew up seams properly. So I've got this slipper that I'm going to show you how I sew up the seams on after we figure out how to do pom-poms. So there's several different ways, well, a couple different ways really to do pom-poms, but basically what you're doing is you're wrapping. So I'm going to use my hand actually, because I only want a kind of small pom-pom. So I'm just grabbing the string, just wrapping it around my hand like that. Grabbing the yarn, wrapping it around my hand like that. And I'm just gonna keep going for a while. My hand's also kind of collapsing in on itself a little bit. My pinky's not strong enough for this, but yeah. Go. And now that I've got this, I can cut it. Don't have scissors by me. Let me use this knife. I'll need scissors later. Anyway, and I can take it off my hand. There we go. Now, I'll grab a wee bit of string, about that maybe, just enough so that it can go round. Here we go. And then I can tie it around the middle section. I'll tie that nice and tightly. Put my finger on it so it'll stay put. And tie it again. There we go. So now I've got this sort of little poofy thing. So now what I can do is I can grab my scissors. So now I can go over here into all these loops and start cutting them. These are not the best scissors for the job actually, they're a little hacky. There we go, I'm going in all these loops and just cutting them. There we go. Pom-poms can be really good for like on tops of hats, on slippers, just that sort of thing. They're a really cute decoration and very simple to make, as you can see. Really doesn't take a lot. So now I have this sort of pom-pom, but this pom-pom is quite messy. You'd look at this and be like, this is a real disaster pom-pom. So now you get to go around and trim it. Remember to kind of catch all the little bits that you cut off, because that can and will be a mess. Right, and we don't want to anger the parents. That's that. I'm just sitting there trimming everything up. I think it should be just about ready by now. There might still actually be a couple wee ones to fix up. So there we go. Now the thing with pom-poms is you want to make sure in the wrapping stage that you have enough, right? If it's going to be too straggly a pom-pom, it won't be able to really hold together. Because you see with pom-poms, you can tear one apart. If I want to sit here and try to pull out all my little strings, I can definitely do that. So don't go sitting around pulling strings out your pom-poms, because that's how you're going to destroy it basically. Because the tension on the string that you tied it around won't be right and it'll just kind of fall apart. So you got to make sure that that is tied really, really well. and really, really tightly, and that your pom-pom is packed tightly as well. There we go. So now I've got my wee pom-pom and my little pile of fluff. What you can actually do is keep this in a wee bag, and you can use this to like stuff a wee critter, which we might actually be doing in a future lesson. So definitely keep your wee pom-pom fluff. It's very useful for the future. So I'm going to set my pom-pom fluff aside. And now if I want, I can also use like a book or something. If I want to have a really big pom-pom, you know, those really huge pom-poms and everything, instead of wrapping it around my hand, I can wrap it around like a book or any sort of other sort of thing like that, and wrap it around a bunch. I actually don't think I'm going to make this full pom-pom because it's just going to be too big for me. I would wrap it around really, really big, lots and lots, right? And then tie it around and have a huge, massive, massive pom-pom. But yeah, I could also use my watercolor palette if I wanted. I think this would actually be like a really good wee thing to use as like a pom-pom maker. You know, to just wrap it around like that. And then when you're done, trim this, slide it off, and then you can tie. Right? I'd need a lot more than this, of course, but that'd be quite good. You can also even use a piece of cardboard for whatever sort of size pom-pom you want. I've also seen people use like a sort of circular piece of cardboard and do it that way and like wrap the entire thing around the circle. And you have these little like notches in the cardboard that you're able to tie it off with, I guess. I don't know, I've always done it this way personally, and I find this way pretty easy. Nice and easy and simple. So now that we have that out of the way, we now know how to make pom-poms. I'm going to show you how I do at my seams. So this is quite bulky yarn, so the problem with it is it can be a little bit more difficult to get into my darning needle. So this is my darning needle that I'm always talking about, right? It's blunt, so it cannot prick me properly. It's like a little prick-y, but it's not going to actually prick me properly. And it's got a nice big hole that I can actually fit yarn through, right? So I'm going to squeeze my big bulky yarn through that. And this is a little bit harder, like I said, because this is super bulky yarn. There we go. So now I've got that kind of folded over, right? So it won't come out, won't come off my needle immediately. So this is the finishing up section, so I'm going to pull that nice and tight. And kind of sew into, see this bit over here. I'm trying to make sure I get the exact same bit on the other side because I don't want to be sewing it up like over here so that I have a big hole or something, or over here and then when I'm finished I have sort of this gap because I just sewed it up a little bit too high. So I'm trying to make it as nice and even as possible. I just pull that through. I'm just going to do a sort of whip stitch over top of it. Right, and I'm just kind of getting one little bit there. Just pulling right on top. And I have this and I can just pull right on top. There we go. Go. And see, this one is quite loose, so I don't think I want to use, well, that's because this is over there. Okay, so if I want, I could always kind of go under here maybe, or you know what, I don't think I will. I think I'll just still use this loop. I'll just have to pull it taut. There we go. Looped right over. Right, I'm just getting those one little bits. There we go, just that one little bit over there. Through like that. Nice and tight and taut. And nice and smooth as well. Like I can put my hand on this, feel that, and it's nice and smooth on either side. There's no real bump. I'm not doing like this situation, right? And then going in and out like this. I'm not doing that. That would give me too many holes, and it's going to give me too much bulk. So I'm just trying to make it as unbulky as possible. go. Just doing the wee whip stitch over top. As we get into sewing, actually, this will be applicable, the whip stitch. I personally use it more for knitting than I would ever for sewing. There we are. So that's that. Because now I'm going to need to actually use the red to sew it up, because I don't want to be using the wrong colour to sew up like this colour, because otherwise those stitches are going to be seen when we like flip it right side out and everything. So I'm now going to kind of put my needle through that one stitch over there. There we go. See, that's what happens sometimes as well. Sometimes you need to pull this out a little bit more so you have a little bit more room. I'm now have this loop out and I'm going to put my needle through that and then pull this loop bit, right? So that the bit that was out that I just passed it through is nice and tight, and then I can pull it through all the way. And I'm just making a little knot there, and that's just going to offer it some more security. And then I can just pass that through one more time to kind of hide that. And then what I can actually do is just kind of go under these like little bumps and things, but I need to make it so that it doesn't show up on the other side, of course. Now the reason I'm doing that is so I can kind of tuck this tail away. You know, it's called weaving in the ends. That's another important part of finishing up that not everyone enjoys. But now that I've kind of woven it in a wee bit, I can trim it. It's all hidden away and there's no sort of unsightly bits to see. These ends will still need to be weaved in actually. I can even use a crochet hook actually and go over here and say okay, pull this through. Okay, now let's find another wee bit of the crochet to pull it through. I'm trying to be as thoughtful about it as possible. I don't just want to do it willy-nilly, like try to weave it in all the way over here, because then I have this big loop that could get pulled out. And then, yeah, my ends will easily become unwoven. I don't want that. So I think that's him tucked away rather well. Just a few, like 3, 4 maybe. 3, 4 little stitches I've tucked it under, right? There we are. So remember, I'm doing this on the wrong side. So when I'm done sewing this up, I'll turn it right side out and it'll be nice and lovely and smooth and not visible. This end is actually on the wrong side over here. I'm gonna have to bring my hook out and pull it through. Wait. This one's a wee bit attached actually, so I want to be careful where I pull it through. There we are. And I can just pull that through. It's on the wrong side now, and I can tuck it away. There we go. And do the exact same thing that I was doing. Just find a good wee spot to tuck it away. I think I'll choose up here. I find crochet hooks are really good for weaving in the ends, but like I said, I do think a darning needle, this wee friend, we call them a darning needle, are the best for actually sewing up your project. And a lot of projects you work flat are going to need to be sewn up. Working flat is just, we have our 2 straight needles, right? When you work in the round, it's a wee bit different. Those are either the circular needles. Those are the ones that I think you guys have actually seen me use with the string that attaches them, or double pointed needles. And one day we will get to them, for sure. So that's that woven in. And I can trim that up nicely. There we are. So that's that all tidied away. I might still need to tidy this one away actually. then I can use the string and sew up a wee bit more. But I don't think I will fully sew up, you know, because I want to make sure that I've got a good hole for the foot to go in. But yeah, I'll have to sew up this side as well still actually. And so many more ends to weave in. That's the thing when you use a lot of different colours, sometimes you have more ends to weave in. But it's worth it, for sure, 110%. I think that's about us today. So I hope you all have a good week. I'll see you next week. Definitely show us all your projects. Alrighty, that's us. Bye bye.